Hello guys, Amanda Trombley, your crazy coach lady, and I am super excited to be a guest speaker here for Tasha Brown on her new Pure Romance journey. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 3 specific components to women's sexual health. We're going to be going over the ways that your sexual health negatively impacts your emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being, as well as going on the reverse side to talk about what we can do to increase the well-being emotionally, physically, and spiritually using sexual health as the means to get there. So that's going to be the topic course for today, but some of you guys don't know me and have never heard of me before, so let me give you a little introduction into who I am and what I do. Again, I'm Amanda Trombley, better known as your crazy coach lady, and I am the owner and founder of Ignite Trombley Coaching. In Ignite Trombley Coaching, I work as a mental wealth and emotional evolution expert, helping women all across the world reach towards emotional freedom and define a new way of living, being, and believing in their mind, body, and soul. So I created Ignite 2 years ago, but I've been in the entrepreneurial journey for a little over 5 years, working as both MLM companies, like Pure Romance, and also doing some business coaching and personal development coaching. And so for the last 5 years, I have learned something incredibly special along my journey, which is that any journey that we take in life has so many more components to it than what we just initially think about, what we just initially go in for it for. And so over the last 5 years, I've been growing, changing, and learning, as well as helping other women do the same thing. It's my passion, it's my love, it's my joy, and ultimately, it has allowed me to create such a beautiful life for myself and for my family, as well as help others do that the same. And so because of my knowledge and because of my experience, because of my business itself, and because of who I am, I was asked here today to share with you a little bit about my journey and my education on how sexual health can actually both negatively decrease aspects of your life and positively decrease aspects of your life. So I hope that you guys are like so many of the other women that I work with, eager, like-minded, and ready to explore something completely new that you haven't yet considered. And if that's what you're here for, if you're here not just for the sales, but here to actually begin to change your life in the simplest and funnest of ways possible, you're tuning in to the right guest speaker. So enough about me and my business and what I do. It's time to get started on what we're actually talking about here today. So, a woman's sexual health directly impacts how they behave, how they approach life, how they believe, and how they feel emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And for so many years, we've really shut this down. It's not our fault. The way that we were raised religiously, culturally, the traumas that we've experienced, all of our life experiences have more than often shut us down from experiencing our own positive side of sexual health and reaping the benefits that it can give us. And so much of this has become such a numb for us that it's not even a question that we consider. It's not even something that we go to. We think of sex, we think of pleasure, or we think of pain. We think of sex and we think of uncomfortability or joy. We think of sex and we think of experimenting or being too insecure to do so. But we don't actually look at sex or pleasure itself as encompassing our part of our own identity and breaking us free to new levels that we've never even imagined. And it's really not our fault. Because of the way society looks at women, because of the way that we were raised, or because of the traumas that we've experienced, we've unconsciously shut down to this aspect of building ourselves emotionally, spiritually, and physically through gaining a positive, sexual, healthy relationship with ourselves. It's not our fault that we are at this point in time, but it is our responsibility to begin to lean into this topic and to begin to do something about it. Now, Tasha's created a really awesome space here where she hasn't brought you guys all in just to make herself money or just to sell to you, but she's actually doing the extra step to make sure that she's providing a safe space for you guys to speak openly, to get to know each other, and to explore a beautiful nature within yourself that can lead you to so much more via your sexual health. And that is really incredible because so many people begin this journey, so many people begin some sort of entrepreneur journey, and they just focus straight on the sales. And so if you're here in this group right now, you should be so grateful that you have a host that is leading you up to a bigger and better plan for you and not just worried about her bottom line. That shows true commitment and true engagement, and it shows that you are in the right space if you are ready to take a step to better yourself fully and actually begin to enjoy your own sexuality. So we understand this aspect that women are primarily shut down to a sexual identity, to their sexual health, to their sexual desires because of the way that we have been, because of the things we've been through, because of the way that we currently live, because of the way that culture sees us, or because of the way that we were raised. And this is okay. We know that we're here, but again, it is our responsibility to do something about it. So when it comes to this lockdown, when it comes to this numb out, when it comes to this lack of identity as a sexual entity, as a sexual being, when it comes from the separation or disconnection from your own sexual health, it actually impacts you severely. We don't think about it. We think about sex just being this distant thing. Maybe it's affecting our relationships. Maybe we're not in a relationship and it doesn't seemingly affect us at all. But going on with this notion that sexual health or sexual identity is not a big deal in itself is really damaging you, because your sexual identity and your sexual health, this connection and relationship to yourself, is a very big deal. And we need to begin to get into it, lean into it, and understand it because of its negative impact on us. Now, emotionally, if you do not have a sexual identity or you are not have a positive sexual relationship with yourself, a healthy sexual relationship with yourself, emotionally, you are numbed out and blocked out from a gigantic piece of yourself. As women, we have desires. We have the desire for pleasure, for play, for passion. We have the hidden kinks and the different things that we want. We want to feel loved. We want to feel respected. We want to explore in a lot of these different areas. And if we are not open to this and we are not honest with ourselves about these needs, desires, and wants, we're shutting ourselves down from a huge part of who we are as women, a huge part of our personality, a huge part of our identity. Now, when it comes to the direct impact of sexual health, when you are not connected to the healthy side of your sexuality, you further this disconnection even more. And when we are missing a piece of ourselves through a disconnection with our sexual identity, or we are not creating a positive sexual healthy relationship with ourselves, we are emotionally impacted. We become numb to many of the pleasures and passions in the world. We become lethargic and lazy, and our anxiety and depression increases as we continuously present ourselves as a piece of the puzzle, as we continuously present ourselves to ourselves and to the others around us as only a piece of who we actually are, living our lives in a numb state, locked away from the true awareness of who you are as a sexual being connected to her in every given day. And as we go about this, our emotionality is directly impacted. We can see stronger signs of it through anxiety and depression, which directly correlate between our needs, desires, and passions not being met, between our personality and our identity being numbed out, as well as many other ways, such as overwhelm in the moment because of frustration, because of these needs not being met. So emotionally, your sexual health can directly impair your own emotional state. And it's time that we put an end to that. Spiritually, this is not something that we typically talk about. It's not something that's common. When you hear the word sex, you don't necessarily think spirituality. When you hear the word sexual health, you're not automatically jumping to a spiritual self. But here's the deal with spirituality. You yourself, your being, is connected to Source. You are connected to Source via your body, via who you are, via the container that you live in. And if you are not honest and aware of your desires, your needs, your loves, your passions, your boundaries, then you are not entirely connected with the Source that is within you. And when you're not connected to the Source that is within you, you cannot be fully connected to the Source that is around you, the abundance of the universe around you. And when we are disconnected spiritually from our center and from the world, how does this impact us? In so many ways. This decreases our ability to manifest our passions and our purposes, money and relationships. This decreases our ability to be grateful and carry on life with a purpose. This decreases our ability to connect on a beautiful and untouchable way with the world and with ourselves. So spiritually, if you are not connected, then you are not living in your best life. And how is this directly impacted by sexual health? Well, again, as a sexual being, as a woman with sexual desires, needs, passions, lusts, etc., part of that is all within you. It is all within your Source. It is all within your container. And as you numb out those things, as you avoid those things, you're moving away from gaining that total spirituality that can connect, manifest, and create the life that you desire. So when it comes to spirituality and sexual health and sexual identity, they are fully connected. And by missing out on your own sexual identity, by numbing out your sexual health, you are putting a direct impact in the large ways of your spirituality and all the small ways of your spirituality. Now, physically, how is our sexual health physically connected to this? Now, you know, what's insane to me is I remember in 4th grade doing like a period class with my school, and it was so informative, and it taught us so much about our bodies and about the man's body, and it was really, really interesting to me, and I learned so much from it. But what I have found in my adult life is that so many women don't. They don't know the cycle of their period. They don't know when they ovulate. They don't know what days of the week they bloat. They don't know hormonally what they're experiencing and how that is affecting their physicality. And by affecting their physicality, how it's affecting their inspirational levels, their connections to the moon cycles, their connection to the earth, their connection, their energy level, their ability, their inspiration, so much more. And so if you do not have a physical, sexual, healthy relationship with yourself, you're missing out on a huge portion of awareness that could lead you to so much more connection, passion, and purpose in your life. And honestly, more than anything, ease. When we take into consideration that we are a body and a body with needs, and we numb out our physical needs due to a fear or a numbness towards our sexual identity or health, we are numbing out a gigantic portion of us, that physical body that we live in. And when we do not take care of our physical body, both through spiritual means of connecting and awareness and through physical means of eating properly, exercising, so on and so forth, we are not giving our body the needs that it desires. And to feel pleasure, to enjoy play, is one of those needs that our body is desiring. So our sexual health is directly impacted by our physicality. Our physicality is directly impacted by our sexual health and sexual identity. And it's time that we take a deeper look into this. It's time that we stop ignoring and going through the motions and just pretending that we're okay and trying here or there, or being too scared to try here or there, and actually start giving ourselves some credit for who we are, what we desire, and what we want in life, sexually speaking. It's okay for this to be an odd topic for you. It's okay for this to be nervous, but it's for you to be nervous about this, but it's not okay for you to sit back and begin to understand these truths and then choose to do nothing about it, because you are worth so much more than that. When it comes to our physical, emotional, and spiritual health sexually, it's incredible what we are missing out when we're not directly in tune to ourselves. When we are numbing out the side of ourselves, our intuition is lacking. Our inner guidance becomes disconnected. We become separated from who we truly are and who we are in the world, which includes our parenting, our motherhood, our relationship with our spouses, and so many other aspects of our lives. So sexual health is a big deal, and it's not all just about sex. It's about so many more pieces of yourself that are missing because you're refusing to take a deeper look into who you are as a sexual being. So we understand that it's not your fault, and we understand that it is our responsibility. So what are we supposed to do about this? Ultimately, the end goal here is to rework yourself, is to rework what you believe, what you feel, what you're willing to do, how you're willing to feel about it, and the steps that you are taking in your life. And so how do we do this? First and foremost, we do this by sitting right here and listening and gaining a little bit of awareness on exactly what is becoming affected because of your lack of sexual health or lack of sexual identity. No, Jason, I'm working. So we start by opening up. We start here by listening and learning, and then moving to actually opening up and being willing to express those fears or those insecurities, and being willing to take advice back from them. Being willing to go forward and do the actions that are required of you to gain a more intimate knowledge of who you are as a sexual being and increase your knowledge and relationship to your own sexual health. It means that it's time for you to begin reaching inside yourself and actually identifying the needs that you have, while setting boundaries for the needs that you're not willing to cross, and exploring the freedom within yourself. Because if there's one thing that I've learned to be true in the last 5 years of entrepreneur, is that although we all have strategies and systems that we follow, we all have ways that we live and disciplines that we acquire, we all have desires and passions and specific things individually to ourselves. One thing that I've learned that is so incredible to each individual is that our ultimate goal is to feel completely and totally free. And when we feel completely and totally free, we level up our lives. We rework our lives. And so as we go through the process of opening up, becoming aware, reaching in, identifying those needs, setting some boundaries, and exploring the freedom that you truly desire to feel, live, and be in, we find out there's more. We find out that we are in a constant state of evolution, and the great thing about all of this process being so connected to our own sexual health is that as we connect more to our own sexual health and our sexual identity, we get to explore more freedoms within this, manifesting with ease, solving overwhelm and anxiety, and really pushing towards leading our best life. Now, when you're listening to this initially, I'm sure your first thought is, although these things may be true, they're not necessarily connected, but they absolutely are. As much as working out is connected to depression, as much as cognitive distortions is connected to anxiety, as much as your way of living is connected to your disciplines, as much as the way your parents raised you is connected to the way that you raise your children, is your emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being connected to your sexual health. It's also connected to a bunch of other pieces of yourself. But to deny yourself a sexual being or to numb out your sexual health is to deny yourself a huge piece of yourself. And when we're reaching in and looking up and trying to find more and ultimately leaning towards the best goal of pleasure, passion, and play, we have to begin to be open with ourselves in these steps. When we have a sexual healthy relationship to ourselves and others, we awaken a complete and total sense of health in the universe itself. And this is so important because when we are fully connected emotionally, physically, and spiritually, we become more. Our pleasures, our passions, and our playtime create the dreams that we desire to have. So, yes, this means you got to start questioning yourself. You got to start looking inwards, and you got to start exposing yourself outwards to find out a little bit more about what you specifically need and who you really are. It means opening up and asking other questions. It means shutting down a little bit of that fear and taking those scary steps to move forward to create a positive sexual healthy relationship and a sexual identity within your own core. It means so many different things, but ultimately what it means is it means shifting the paradigm that you are currently living in and opening yourself up to a paradigm that insists that you build a life, that you build an identity, that you build a health based off of pleasure, passion, and play. So, in our next video that I'm going to be speaking to you guys about, we're going to discuss some specific embodiment practices to get you here and the key components and importance of embodying your womanly self, your womanly figure, your womanly identity. We're going to be talking about confidence and identity as these are such crucial parts to your sexual connection, and we're going to be moving forward a little bit deeper on exactly what to do and how great sexual health can actually benefit our lives. So I will leave that here for now, but I want to leave you with one thought as you explore this notion of becoming a sexual creature and opening up to the positive side and the negative side of your emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being in connection to your sexual identity. I want you to think about this. I want you to begin to be open to exploring the natural given charisma that you hold in order to awaken a delight inside of you that draws you near the power, the manifestation, and the divine energy that you desire to be in. So feel free to ask questions below. Feel free to chit chat with me, to reach out to me, to ask any questions about what I do or anything specifically on this topic, and make sure to check out Tasha's website to get in, to log in, and to participate in this group as we continue to move forward in a really beautiful and sacred space. That's it for today. Ta-ta, guys.